Hi, my name is Christian Hughes and this is my final project. In this project, we go over the score of the past 20 UNC versus Duke basketball games and try to predict whether UNC is going to win the next time they face off. In other words, my null hypothesis is going to be that Duke is going to score more points than UNC the next time they play each other, and I'm going to try to reject this hypothesis. We have a table representing the last 20 games that they faced off, the date, the amount of points that UNC scored, and the amount of points that Duke scored. The X variable is going to be UNC and the Y variable is going to be Duke. The information we use in this table is from the official website of UNC men's basketball. The second table we show presents the sums and the means. And then the last table we show, we have the calculations that we need to calculate the correlation coefficient. Next, we have a chart that shows the results of the last 20 times that these teams faced off, 20 being the most recent and 1 being the oldest. In this chart, blue will represent UNC and orange represents Duke. Finally, we have the calculation of the correlation coefficient. We have calculated that the correlation coefficient is 0.02621. That value is very close to 0, suggesting an almost negligible linear relationship between the scores of UNC and Duke. This means that the score of one team does not necessarily have a significant predictive relationship with the scores of the other team. Any increase or decrease of one's team's score has very little or no effect on the other team's score. In statistical significance, with a low correlation, it's likely that there is not enough evidence to say there's a strong connection between the team's scoring patterns over these last 20 games. This result suggests that other factors, rather than the direct relationship of the UNC and Duke scores, are what is influencing the outcomes. Then we construct an 80% confidence interval. The results are presented here. Here we use the correlation coefficient to calculate the T statistic, which turns out to be 0.11. With the 80% confidence level, we have alpha, which is 0.2. From the sample size being 20, we get that the degree of freedom is 18. With those two, we get that T critical equals 0.878. Since T critical has more value than T statistical, the P value will be greater than alpha, which is 0.2. Which means that we fail to reject the null hypothesis. In conclusion, with a correlation coefficient of 0.02621, we can say that the results of UNC and Duke are very slightly related to each other. Their scores don't really depend on each other, which suggests that how one team scored in the past doesn't strongly tell us anything about how the other team will score in the future. Thank you for listening.